Would you move to a third world country to escape Australia? It's a bloody good question, isn't it? I was talking with a mate on the phone the other day and I said to him, Australia's broken. Housing, cost of living, etc. And he's very well off. He just said, Sydney's expensive. So one of the reasons you wouldn't consider moving to a third world country is that you don't find Australia expensive. You agree with the wealth redistribution from the rich to the poor because you've got that much that it doesn't actually impact you, or you've used family trust to kind of hide it, right? That's one reason, right? The other reason, which is more interesting and more conspiracy orientated, but plausible, is that one of the key legal pillars of Australian society and why Australia is called a first world country, doesn't seem like it some days, does it, is private ownership of assets can't be touched, right? The sacred cow, whatever a sacred cow is, right? However, I bet you heaps of property investors, of which I'm not one, thought that the 50% CGT discount and negative gearing was also a sacred cow and would never be touched, and that the Prime Minister's assurances of how many times I have to tell you 50 times, I'm not going to stuff around with it. Oh no, sorry, things have changed. We need to make it fairer for the kids, right? Doesn't impact me, I don't give a fuck, right? The other reason to move to a third world country is, the aforementioned cost of living, it's broken, so on and so forth. It kind of doesn't wash. Depends on how old you are and where you are. There are so many people make individual choices about global mobility. That's perfectly fine. It also primarily depends on your skill set and your age. If you're a younger person with a highly portable skill set, you would consider doing it. A lot of Aussies go to Silicon Valley and make a lot of money, but that's their skill set, technology. If you're a sparky, a plumber, a chippy in Australia, that skill set might be portable to the US and to the UK. It's not portable to a third world country because they already have sparkies, chippies, plumbers over there who work for incredibly cheap prices, right? The other reason is, do you have kids? If you have kids, Australia is still a great place, primarily because of the education. Going over to a third world country, second world country, education, international education is not standardised, it is expensive, and they are running a business. The government here, whether it's private or state schools, has a guiding hand on what is the educational criteria. Now, in global surveys, we don't do that well on mathematics or literacy, to be honest. Singapore seems to outrank all the time, particularly on maths, but that says more about them than it does about us, I reckon. What is a third world country? What is a second world country? What is a first world country? Australia likes to consider itself a first world country. These terms, first, second and third world, actually are complete misnomers. They're completely mislabelled for economies. The term actually comes from the Cold War. If you're a first world country in the Cold War, you were aligned with the United States. So Australia, Britain, Europe, Thailand and the Philippines were all considered first world countries. Second world countries were aligned with the USSR, the Eastern Bloc, East versus West, right? It's really interesting that that language carries forward today. Third world countries we typically associate with very poor countries, some African countries, I guess. They were third world countries that were not aligned with either the US or USSR. Switzerland was a third world country. The language has gotten mixed up over the decades. Thailand and the Philippines and Vietnam, I think, are considered upper middle income countries. Their GDP, their income per person, apparently, is upper middle. So middle, top of the middle. Australia's considered high income along with the US and the UK, Germany, etc., France. So considering moving to a third world country is more like, do you want to move to a country that has a better standard of living for the income that you've got and less bullshit, in my mind? And I think that's the one thing that would encourage me, the one primary thing that would encourage me to leave Australia is get away from the bullshit. Gender, identity, politics, net zero, white reverse racism, anti-nationalism, the whole box and dice, apart from the government, not being very good economic managers and putting us in this situation. Would you consider leaving Australia for a third world country, which is happier, cheaper, and less bullshit? It's a good question.